So we're going to have a quick look at adding and subtracting decimals with an open number line. Okay, so I would definitely advise you have a look at our videos on other methods for adding and subtracting whole numbers first if you've never seen an open number line before. So the idea is that I start with one of my numbers and I'm just going to break this down into easy bits, okay, to make it easier to add. So first I'm going to add on my 4 whole units. Okay, so adding on 4 is going to give me 6.98. Okay, then I've got my 0.7 here. I'm going to split that up as a 0.1 and a 0.6. Okay, because I've got 9 tenths here. If I add on 1 more tenth, it's going to get me to the next whole number, so 7.08. It's like adding on 10p. So £6.98 add 10p would be £7.08. Okay, and now it's like I'm adding on 60p, so I've got £7.68. Okay, and now my next column, it's like I'm looking at my pennies. It's like I've got 6 pence here, and I'm adding that onto the 8 pence here. So I'm going to split that up into 2 pence and 4 pence again to get me to the nearest. I'm going to need to make this number line a bit longer to get me from 8 pence up to a whole 10. So if I add on 0.02 to that, I'm going from 6. It's like going from 68 up to 70. So that's going to be 7.7. And then when I add on my 0.04, I'm getting 7.74. Okay, and then the only thing left is to add on, oh, I've not put pluses here, add on 0.003. And there's nothing in the thousandths column here, so I can just put that right at the end. Okay, and that's us done. That's maybe a bit trickier than the algorithm. Okay, it's maybe a bit more of a fuss. It works better for kind of shorter decimals, okay? Or if you really, really love that method for whole numbers, you might prefer to use it for decimals, but the algorithms, it's not a bad algorithm, okay? So maybe that would be an easier way, okay? Let's try doing this one subtracting, okay? And I'll show you this kind of both ways so you can kind of count on and you can count back, okay? So I'm starting with 23.7 and I'm going to count back by 14.9. Oops, sorry, what a mess. So here I'm going to start at 23.7 and I'm going to count back to the left along my number line by 14.95. Okay, so I'm going to take away a 10 and get 13.7. That's that 10 dealt with. I'm going to take away a 4 and I'm going to split that up as a 3 and a 1 to get me to a whole 10. And then that will get me down to 9. So that's going to be 10.7 if I take away the 3. Take away 1 more, 9.7. Okay, so that's those 4 units dealt with. Now I've got 0.9 to deal with. Now I've got a 0.7 split sitting there. So I'm going to split it over the 0.7. So I'm going to take away that 0.7. And then to get down to taking away 0.9, let's make this a bit longer. I'm going to need to take away another 0.2. Okay, so take away 0.7 gets me to 9. And then taking away 0.2, that's going to get me to 8.8. Remember, it's like I've got £9 and I'm taking away 20p. That's going to give me £8.80. So I've taken away the 0.9. And then I'm taking away 0.5. Now think of that as £8.80. If I took away 5p, I'm going to have £8.75. Okay, so that's my answer, 8.75. Okay, and I could have done this. Let me just rub out that, covering up that there. So I'm trying to do 23.7 take away 14.95. I equally could have worked out the difference. I'm going to make this a bit longer. Where's my cursor? There it is. Worked out the difference between 14.95 and 23.7. This is maybe a slightly easier method. Okay, so 14.95 to get up to the nearest, well, unit even, all I need to do is add on 0.05. It's like adding on 5p to that. That's going to give me 15 whole pounds. Okay, and if I added on a fiver, that would get me to 20 pounds. If I added on £3, that would get me to 23 there. And you can see I'm very close now. All I need to add on is a 0.7. Okay, and then I'm going to put this all together. 5 add 3 is 8, and then I've got a 0.7 sitting here and a 0.05. So adding that all together gives me my difference, which is 8.75 again. Okay, so it depends on your preference. You might find the algorithm easier. I think adding on when you're taking, like finding the difference, this second method when you're taking away is easier than counting back. But it's up to you and what you prefer. If your knowledge of place value and the open number line for whole numbers is really good, is really secure, you might find this much easier than the algorithm. It kind of depends what you're used to, okay?